morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. Well, in Lagos, southwest of the country, where we're broadcasting from, we woke up to a slight drizzle. It's pretty chill all around. Most Lagosians will be happy about that because the temperatures before this season, they were just, off the scale. I remember sometimes you get as high as 35, but we're thankful. If the air conditioners didn't work, no problem. It was good overnight. Now, I've got two doctors in front of me, my guests this morning, not a stethoscope between them. Dr. Kweba Anwo is a lawyer and public affairs commentator. Thank you very much for coming on, Okwe, and it's been quite a while. Great to have you back.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be back.
Indeed. And continuing the no stethoscope, so Dr. Jide Johnson doesn't wield a stethoscope already, or either. He's Deputy Provost, NIJ. He's a teacher of journalism. The two doctors, you're very, very welcome.
Good morning on this morning.
Okay, then, great to see you guys again. Okay, you've been away, but here you are. It's good to have you back. You've been traveling and all of that, but good to have you back.
Thank you so much.
Why now? Why did you
I
just leave
some
the
people
scene?
have to help with rebranding the image abroad, so I have to go there and
I think I love that assignment.
to make sure that the next level is working.
Who is funding? Who is funding?
That one is I plead the Fifth Amendment on that one.
Okay, now. So, Dr. Johnson, serious business tomorrow, and Dr. Ban, we're getting, the inauguration of the 9th National Assembly is tomorrow. It's been coming, and a lot of eyes are on the National Assembly, hoping that this time we will get it right. Among the indices about getting it right would be that between the legislators themselves and their parties, there is no disconnect. And right now we're hearing about the ruling party and its recommended or preferred candidates for offices in the National Assembly. The Senate, Lawan, and the House of Reps, Bajabia Mila. But that's not to say it's a done deal, because as the work that they have been putting in would seem to indicate they've been consulting with all, even with the opposition. I understand that right now it's the horse trading season. If the election is tomorrow, people are probably crossing their T's, dotting their I's to be sure that the way it was expected is the way it comes out. Even the PDP, I understand other senators, returning senators led by the immediate past Deputy Senate President are trying to find out, so what exactly is in it for us? Who is going to be Deputy Senate President? How many committees are? So all of those kind of things. Dr. Banwo, very usual in politics, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, it is. I think it's a sign of the maturity of our democracy that all this is happening. I don't think anything is negative about it, but see, it's one of the, we don't want to go constitutional yet. I think it's part of the problem we have, where when you elect the legislature, okay, they have to pick their leaders. There's no mandate that says it must come from the ruling party. But we all know that for in Nigeria, we vote the party, not the person. So if the APC is being voted at the national level as the primary party, it means for their program to be executed as the APC party, of course, the leadership of APC must be very interested in who they pick there. But at the same time, this also has to be balanced against the independence of the legislature. Okay, but we want them to be independent, but we don't want them to be too independent to the point where they disconnect with the national level, because that's more or less happened a bit in the last session, where even the president was now struggling to get his agenda passed because there was a disconnect between the leadership in the judiciary and so this time, I think they're trying to make sure they get it right. And of course, PDP is probably the only one smiling now, because the more there's intrigue, the more there's lack of agreement among the APC, there's a door for them. And I think we're going to cover a lot of that. So horse trading is part of politics. It's done every time in the US, it's done every time in the world, and it should be done, because despite the fact that APC won the majority, obviously, the PDP too did win a lot of seats. So everybody's interest as a nation need to be considered. So, and I think in the context of that, the horse trading, you have to give me something to get you something, is done, as long as, like I said, there is no corruption involved in the process.
Indeed. Jide, the president is sort of being front and center, in recent times. Even the headlines are declaring as much. Buhari governors join forces for Lawan Gbajabiamila Miller. So we've come a long way from the 2015 attitude and, well, let's just call it what it was. 2015 mistake about, I'm for everybody, I'm for nobody. I understood that, that position. Sort of, there are many who thought it was idealistic, but here we are. This is remarkable, and it's likely to profit us richly because the president has been all over the place, by which I mean in terms of intervening, coming into matters. There's the National Assembly one that we're talking about, even something about the brouhaha going over in Kano. The president reportedly has sought to mediate in the matter. All sorts of things are going on. This is a different president. I remember the last time you were here, we were speaking about, are we going to see a different president this time? And is it going to be different? Because they themselves had already said that it's not going to be business as usual this time. And this time we mean it.
Yeah, I think the first time for the president was a learning experience for him to understand the dynamics of democracy and for him to have a cultural change in terms of his orientation when it comes to running an administration as a former military head of state, now as a democratically elected president of the Federal Republic. In presidential system, the face of democracy is the president. Is the symbol of the government, is the representation and the totality of the sovereignty of the nation in person. And the president wields tremendous power and has tremendous influence, but unfortunately in the last 4 years the president did not use his influence appropriately in terms of those managing him, because in democracy, like Dr. Bahu said, you must engage in horse trading. It's part and parcel. Another word for horse trading is lobbying. I'm coming. No.
Horses are different.
Listen. Uncle Yori, it's about give and take. How did who gets what, when, where, and how? That's how Harold Laswell defined politics. Who gets what, when, where, and how? If I'm going to get this, when am I going to get it? How am I going to get it? What am I going to get if I'm giving you this? These are part and parcel of the basic elements and tenets of democracy.
But
so
the slight joke I am making is that with horse trading, you won't know the state of health of the horse unless you're an expert. This is where the whole expression of horse trading came about.
Why did you think that the president met with Lawan, with Goje? If they had gone to that election tomorrow, Goje might have emerged. There's every likelihood, because you see, during the election
the president was involved in Goje.
During the election meeting, he had a meeting with Lawan, with the governor of Kaduna State, and
yes,
for them to harmonize, and then Goje came out and
said
down,
that because of the respect he has for the president and the interest of the party,
and the interest
I'm
of the
stepping
party.
down.
It's important.
Which was a big relief.
Yeah, it's important because if that was not done in electing principal officers, the opposition have always played critical role. In the 6th Assembly, the preferred candidate was not the speaker. Tambuwal was not the preferred candidate. Mulikat from Oyo State was the preferred candidate of the party, but Tambuwal emerged as the speaker, working with the opposition. And same thing played out in the 8th Assembly that we have at both level, at the Senate presidency level, at the speaker level, the opposition, because the opposition can put their votes in block and say, you know what are you going to give us? Uncle Yori, let me borrow your term. Do you see committees?
You don't make it my term.
That makes 100% sense. This is democracy, and the APC didn't have landslide, so to speak. So, which means if you have to look at the national,
thing as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you can't really say they have a mandate. See, because it was close. Okay. So, because it was close, that means the mind of Nigerians is really not all united in one direction, which means then the opposition has to be very much accommodated in that horse. They got a beautiful horse going. We're talking about horse. So now, if the APC is not very careful, we may end up with another Saraki scenario here.
No. Once bitten, twice shy. I hope.
No, it's like you said, if they don't trade the horse well, because all it takes for the underdog to win this thing is for the bloc of PDP to vote for him. He has his own bloc in APC. Before you know it,
and that's part of the complication of this process. The fact that it doesn't depend absolutely on the ruling party,
which is
they
what I'm saying.
Also need their competitors to secure victory.
And don't forget that. Look, it's because we are here in the studio and our respective state of origin. That's why we talk about them as being to one party or the other. Once they get to Abuja, they are first and foremost senator of the Federal Republic.
And they share
members of the House of Rep. Are you getting my point? They are brothers. They are kith and kin. You see, the more things seems to change, the more they seems to be the same. Look, the two preferred candidates of the party were principal officers, majority leaders of the much maligned 8th Assembly. So the more things seems to change. Once they get to that, their inner chamber, and they turn it to an executive session, you and I don't know what they do. But what we are saying now is this. Work in line with your party's principal values manifesto, work in line with the executive agenda when they bring their bill, and work in the overall interest of Nigeria. Don't be antagonistic of the presidency, but work as coordinates, and that's what we are looking forward to. And that's why we are having this discussion that, look, what is going to be done is that let the party has an influence as regards who emerge as the Senate president, as regards as who emerge as the speaker. And once that process is done, I think then there won't be no excuse for anybody to say, oh, it's because we don't control the legislature. They are wrong.
No, but there's an issue that I think maybe Uncle Yori might want to dodge from it. So that I think we really are skirting. Okay, in as much as there should be us trading, the real issue is, should the president of the country be visible in the process of trying to pick the executives of the National Assembly? No. That is the real issue. Is causing... No, let me finish.
Let him land.
Let me make the point. See, because it's all over the papers. Yes, I've not been here, but I've read papers since I came in the last couple of days, and everything is online. We all read it. Okay, so you have situation like the Goje there. Okay, it's a big elephant on the table. We might as well discuss it. Okay, so while I understand that the Mr. President will not be protecting his own interest by going to stay in the background and let the National Assembly pick whoever they want, like he announced last time, which really is the proper thing to do, to say, listen, I'm ready to work with anybody because the executive is different from the legislature. But what he should have done then is get his key guys to work in the background while he remains aloof from it, okay? Get the Ashwajus of this world, tax them, say, listen, this is what we need to do. But he stays as an independent because he's the president of the whole of Nigeria. So because when he gets too personally involved in the process, or if he's attached to the process, like the accusations concerning Gojena, that it was him that did it personally for them to withdraw the case and give it to the Attorney General of the Federation. Yes, they do have 100% right to do that. The AG has the right to do that. But once you start dragging the president into that, then now I start to get worried because I don't want the president.
Yeah, but who dragged the president into that? Nobody.
Somebody. He's out there, but it's obvious. Let's not play the game here. You prosecute somebody for 8 years, okay? Attorney General didn't seize the case for 8 years. Overnight, when he's contesting for the Senate leadership, all of a sudden it smells like a dog. It looks like a dog. It is a dog. And I understand, if I were the president, I would also be involved. If that is what it's going to take for me to avoid a Saraki repeat, then I got to play I have to play the game.
Okay.
So my point is, we don't want a legislative leadership that is under the full control or thumb of the president of the country. It's not good for our democracy.
Okay. It can never happen.
Well, that's...
Now, that's the reason. You see, if you check the structure of the National Assembly, that's what I've said. Yes. Look, from the 4th to the 9th we are going to have now, it is the party that has controlled the executive that has always controlled the House. Yes. And they have always worked at cross purposes. The National Assembly gave Obasanjo trouble. The National Assembly was controlled by the PDP. The National Assembly gave Jonathan trouble. The National Assembly gave Yar'Adua trouble. So once they get to that floor, look,
As you
the
said
characters in the National Assembly, it is we that we are seeing them as APC or PDP.
No, I get that.
They are the same.
No, you're missing the point. I agree 100%. Once they get there, they're going to do their own thing and then everyone help the executive. But my point is, I don't want my president to be overtly involved in the process. He's got to play it underground. He's got to use his own guys. And he's got to remain aloof.
Yeah, that's one perspective. And,
yes.
and it is duly recorded.
I agree with him in that respect. But that process starts with the sponsoring of candidates. If a person is picked as a senatorial candidate of party, the party must have screening. It means that person is qualified. For anybody to qualify to be the senator of the Federal Republic, he must have been screened. So each and every one of those 109 senators is qualified to be the Senate president because he's first among the equal. He's first among the equal. We must settle that. And it talks about the party talking about their selection process. You must select people that you think are fit and proper, that will pursue your party's agenda and your party's ideology. And it starts with your recruitment process. The Democratic Party in the United States of America, the Republican Party in the United States of America, they go and recruit. Even in United Kingdom, they go and recruit. I read someone that said, there was an attempt for him to run. He's a Nigerian. He said they made an attempt to invite him to run for the election, to go to the House of Commons in England because they've studied him and he said he does not share the values of the Conservative Party. He has a liberal ideology. So the parties must do that. They must do that recruitment process. Otherwise, they will be having the problem even before the election. We know the principal officers. You know, we are only talking about the Senate president and the deputy Senate president. Nobody's talking about the majority leader. Nobody's talking about the whip. Nobody's talking about all of these factors are important for you to have a viral relationship between the executive and the legislature and the party and its public.
Where I'm going is that really it should be the party that should be very aggressive, very publicly aggressive in picking their leadership because people voted for the party. In Nigeria, we don't vote for the individuals. It's APC or PDP when you enter the ballot box. So APC should be able to sit down at their own decision-making level, decide who it should be, which is what they are doing, and then do whatever they can do to make sure that person is there. But isolate our president, give him deniability, let him not be publicly seen.
All right.
Send the leaders like Ashiwa used to go and do the work.
But engage as many people as possible. Engage them, discuss with them. Don't pass an instruction to them like you are talking to secondary school.
No. I'm saying the leadership.
That's what I'm saying. That involve all the senators, all the House of Rep members, engage them, which is what has been done to a certain extent this time around compared to what we have in 2015. Once beaten, like you said, twice shy.
Indeed. The Deputy Senate President preferred by the party is just been announced that Senator Ovie Omagege, he's secured the party APC's,
Nod.
Yes. I guess I like that
pensive
word.
About that. Why?
Nod.
You seem a little bit pensive about Omagege.
Well, tell me, what do you remember Omagege for?
Maybe I will let my brother answer that.
What do you remember Omagege for? Whatever you remember Omagege for.
Omagege does not symbolize or represents the totality of what the progressive ideology is all about.
So how did the party
before you go further, before you go further, wait, gentlemen, let me interject now. You're going to continue. Let me interject. If the Nation newspaper reports this morning that it is thought that the president has supported the candidature of Omagege because he wants the slot for the South. So just throw that in.
Mr. President should not even be getting involved in this process. We've said that. So, but okay, I would like to take Omagege first, and I'll respond.
Because look,
the Nation reports that the president has his eye on the South, according to a credible source.
He's not the only senator from the South. He's not the only senator from the South.
But experience will come into it.
There's a senator from the Edo North who happens to be who is a principal officer in the 8th Assembly. The senator representing Oshomole's senatorial Edo North. The senator, I can't remember is his name now. But for Amagege, he does not represent. Look,
Why
in
does he
Nigeria,
not? I'm curious. Why
in
does he
Nigeria,
not?
people get away with blue murder. We saw the character.
What did he do? What did he do?
Wait,
It was
now,
alleged that
don't-
the guy
don't-
stole
don't
the
be
message.
distracted.
It was
I don't-
alleged.
alleged. See,
It was
this is the-
alleged. It was
Yes.
alleged that
Okay.
he led thugs to go into the floor of the hallowed chamber to carry the symbol of authority. And such a
Alleged.
person.
See, my problem, this is my problem right there. See, we tend to brand people based on allegations. Now, I'm not speaking for Magege. I don't even know who the guy is. I know the story. But my point is he's not been prosecuted for it. He's not gone to jail for it. And here we are making decisions about his.
There is
Wait, let
a
me- let me
Senate committee
finish.
report on that matter. There is a Senate committee report
sir.
on that matter.
I want to hear.
Let me
I want to
finish.
hear the point he
Let
wants
me
to make.
finish. Now, my point is, if we are to brand everybody based on allegations against them, then many of those people that have been mentioned,
In other words,
do not even qualify.
in other words, you don't have an issue with Omagege at all.
No. I didn't say that. Oh, I do have an issue with him. Oh, definitely. Because now I first want to clear, because I'm a lawyer first and foremost. I'm not going to condemn somebody based on allegations.
There is a Senate
But at the
report.
same time, hold on. But at the same time, politics is not so much about reality, but also perception.
Yes.
This is a government that has sold itself as an anti-corruption organization. And when you are going to do anti-corruption, not only must you do it, you must also be seen to be doing it.
Yes.
So if somebody is shrouded in that kind of drama, so to speak, I'll call it drama. Okay,
that kind of allegation.
Yes, they can as well get somebody else who is not.
Never mind TV pictures at the time.
Yeah,
But allegation is
yeah,
still
we
an
also the
allegation.
video. Yes, but my point is,
that's
but-
why he's using drama.
no, but what I said it's really drama. It's drama because I was just laughing. But should APC now be pushing that kind of person? Well, I'm not talking about whether it's guilty personally now. I'm talking about the perception it creates. Just the same way the perception of Goje creates. That is my concern. I might as well be upfront with
hear
it.
you.
I was a very big Buhari guy. I'm not going to deny that everybody knows that. I'm talking the first time. Okay, I wasn't involved in this second time. I remained neutral. But
Have you
this
changed
is part of my
camp?
issue.
Have you changed camps this
No,
time?
I've not changed. I decided to remain neutral because it was wrong of me to take sides if I'm a public commentator.
Oh, okay.
I realized that mistake 4 years ago, so I decided to stay so that I can be independent in my thoughts, which is where we are today. These kind of things are the ones that undercut Buhari's war against corruption.
Okay.
The Goje issue, this Omagege thing, okay, and him publicly being identified with it is what is giving him problem with me now. It shouldn't have been.
Wait, let's
Yes.
solve these issues. I hear you, sir, but when you use anti-corruption and Omagege in the same sentence, it can give the wrong impression. We're talking. There's a reason that maybe.
What is corruption? Do you think corruption is only stealing money?
It's about abuse of process.
What are you talking about? Corruption is a total package, and I love Mr. President Buhari for that, at least his reputation coming in. So when things like this...
Just so far as we explain it properly, because unfortunately,
Yes.
because corruption is as endemic as it is locally,
Yes.
you say the word, when you academics, of course, X-ray the word. It means a lot more than just straightforward money matter. So I understand you, and you're entirely right. But I was saying, because we're talking about perceptions and allegations.
Okay, because some people, that's the way they understand
Yeah,
corruption.
that's the only way they understand.
Okay, that's why I
it.
use the word drama now. Everybody wants me to use the word drama.
So, but you guys have not. Well, you have commented slightly on it. I was going to say.
Okay, bring it out.
No, the president says that. The Nation reports that the president's reason was that he wanted the slot for the South-South.
Mr. President should not be commenting on the executive positions of our National Assembly.
Mr. President
the
hasn't
executive and the
commented.
legislature is different.
Mr.
This
President hasn't commented. Up and doing newspapers.
just said it.
Up and doing newspapers will do
So
their
are the
best
newspapers
to.
lying?
Uncle Yori, for you to be elected, you need
I'm
to
just
climb.
asking.
These are the characters actually they love in the National Assembly. Those that climb fence, walls,
Exactly.
that carry me. These are the
That
characters.
sleep overnight in,
Exactly. These are the
in
characters.
cars in the car park.
No, these are how we reward loyalty. What's the difference between what he has done, what Tambuwal, Ikediwa? So it's an entrance. You see, we encourage Togri and we promote Togri at the national level,
Yes.
and we reward it, and we want it to die down at the local level. Because people go away with blue murder.
Yes.
In civilized climes,
Thank you.
such characters will not even come out to be.
And that is my point. So
we might get sanctimonious about it now.
It's about perception. He's saying about
politics,
perception.
Politics is no tea party. The things that go on in politics surprise the rest of us. Maybe you gentlemen accepted. But those ordinary people like us and people watching out there, they're shocked.
Barrister knows that if he has done that in United States Congress, he will have been in contempt. Now, the Attorney General of United States and the Secretary of Treasury, they are almost in line with content of the national. There is a report. It's because we don't. An indictment of the National Assembly. Look, people don't know that even the National Assembly has an extra judicial power. The impeachment of the president, the legislature can impeach the president.
Okay.
And it becomes a judgment.
Okay.
So the report indicted this character. Okay. This character, there are other people from the south, not Omagegi.
Exactly. I've been holding on to a caller. A caller has been waiting all this while. Joshua, good morning, sir. In Irewole.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling in.
I greet your guests. I thank them for doing justice to this topic. I pray in a couple of hours we'll be through with this leadership of the both houses.
Yeah.
That would be good for us. And I pray that APC will have their way. For the sake of Nigeria, we need an executive that is in consonance with what the president wants to do. I would say in the interest of the president, he should please get involved. Whether directly or indirectly, he should please get involved. It's important. It's his program, the box stuff's on his desk. He is the one that is going to take the blame if anything goes wrong. He should please get involved.
Okay.
I know the party supremacy is there, but the president's role is important. I don't agree with one of your guests there. It's like saying the president should not get involved and all that. It's like saying Nigerians should not get involved in choosing their president. The president should get involved.
All right, then.
This is his regime.
Excellent.
And then the truth about this democracy being about perception, I think we're flogging it too much. We should take the perception to reality. I don't agree with Togri, but what Omagege did was very right. At that time, for the purpose for which he did it. The guy that alleged padding of budget in the House of Rep was annihilated. Omagege was going to be destroyed. He had to survive. Please, we have to look at things based on the context of the time that they happened. And not just he blamed some people unnecessarily.
Okay.
So I don't support Togri, but he did what he did to survive. And I'm happy that he's in the House. I pray that he makes it too. And then we can have a vibrant House that will do the bidding of Nigerians.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. No need to back and forth because on that particular point, we've heard Dr. Banwo's perspective, and it's been recorded, and it's understood. And also, we've heard it from the other side.
Good point you made.
Yes,
like you
we've
said,
heard it from the other side.
The executive of the National Assembly must be in consonance with the presidency for it to work.
And
what should not happen?
And we have learned the payback for being aloof, for not being involved. I'm sorry, I was told I got to go on a break, and so let me quickly do so. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still got Dr. Kwebanwo and Dr. Jide Johnson in the house, and we're looking at the principal officers, the election that will happen after the inauguration of the 9th Assembly tomorrow. And I think where we got to, it's like it's almost sorted, the whole matter of the Senate President and the House of Reps, and only a non-politician can speak so casually about this whole matter. The politicians know that, that thing you just said like that, we have been having sleepless nights over it, but generally speaking, it is thought that...
some have lost 10 kilograms.
On this matter.
on this
on
matter.
this whole matter. And then we got to perhaps the surprising to some, maybe even many, of the choice of Omar Agege as the ruling party's preference. He's a ranking senator, so it's understandable. But it's not as if it's a done deal, because if you scan the papers this morning, I read that another senator, Francis Alimekena, who's also eyeing the deputy senate slot, says that I am still very much in the race. I'm very, very much in the race. Let it just be known. Yeah, he's not on the front pages, but
he's playing his own.
He's saying that, well, without prejudice to whatever is going on, so it means that it's going to be an ongoing thing right up until the last 5 minutes.
Horse trading.
The horse trading. Because some people would have given their own horse a particular kind of a shot, and then the thing will be looking all sorts of vibrant. They bring him to the market and say, look at the best horse here, so whatever. I think I'm being told that there's a caller. Reverend Dominic, good morning, my brother.
Good morning, Jibiori. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Dr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning, Reverend.
My next brother there, good morning.
Dr. Banwo.
Good morning, sir.
Yori, yesterday I was so worried about this election that's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yori, what is my worry? Dr. Johnson we were discussing about the amount of money that the legislator will spend to go into the legislative house.
Yes.
That when it goes there, the first thing in his mind is to group it. My worry is this.
And you know, I told him that he was depressing me by stating that obvious thing.
Well, I can't hear you. Let me make this point, sir. Well, what we're trying to say that last night I saw and Daniel try to project the meeting leadership Benjamin addressing his colleagues. Why should they spend such money talking to I'm going to vote? Dr. Johnson is going to vote. They're not going to vote. They're bringing such meeting in national television and paying such huge amounts just to become a leader or a principal officer in National Assembly. Why do you spend this money? Benin went all through the whole Nigeria just to become a speaker. When they finish, how do you recoup this money? To be in silence in about 3-4 hours or it costs millions of money just to become a principal officer. That is not for service, one side. The nature and the face of the principal officers of National Assembly is giving me worry. The last caller was talking about Omar Agege. Does 2 wrongs make right? How could we reward bad characters in Nigeria? How do we reward a man who infested the National Assembly, the chamber he wants to preside over? If somebody do something to him, how will we react? APC may not disappoint us. We remove PDP for this bad attitude. Where you look out for what is bad character and you do what pleases you. If APC goes through this trajectory, it will disappoint me. Or Maggie is not qualified to become a deputy president because you cannot fight the same institution and want to govern the same institution. Okay. And to Joshua, 2 wrongs do not make right. Thank you, Nigerians. Indeed.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic. And by the way, Senator Borofis doesn't share your opinion, Dominic, by which I mean that he's reported to have stepped down for Omar Agege. He also was in the race. So, politicians are seeing something that the rest of us might find difficult to assimilate and understand.
And we have to make them, because he made a very valid point. Now, let me state this very clearly, publicly, okay? If I were to vote today again, I will vote Mr. Buhari, and I'll tell you why. For 4 years, I'm non-aligned, but nobody wants to go to one scandal of 200 billion stolen. At least what we are discussing now is not billion stolen, okay? We have improved, but we can get better, okay? We can get better. In a situation where our legislators are not ashamed to even be tied with somebody collecting money to be elected that means we still have a long way to go. they can negotiate.
Yeah, but the only problem I have when you say it like that, which, and I appreciate
Okay,
your
but
right
it's not
to say,
proving. Nobody has admitted
yeah,
it.
people, our senators, our national assemblymen are not all about money and bags and that kind of a thing. There's good reason. There's good reason for what you say.
Well, so where's the allegation coming from? 25 million per person. Is that from the air? No, let's be real here.
There's no smoke without fire.
The Omagege is at least is open to the whole world. What he is saying is that we need to move better as we are moving. Somebody who has more or less desecrated the same chamber he wants to preside over, no matter how justified. I hear the argument that, okay, he had to do what he had to do, but no, you can't do what you have to do. We are talking about rule of law among the people that are going to make laws. So the APC shouldn't be projecting that kind of guy. They have better people. They have lots of qualified people.
I hear you.
So when they're saying that, that's why I use the word corruption, because this is all part of the total package. Corruption is not just when you carry money and steal. Corruption is when you endorse stuff that take back our democracy. Corruption is when you reward somebody for thuggery in the house. And that is what this will look like. And it will be disappointing. Like that gentleman obviously is a very, very pro-present government person. But he's saying I'll be very disappointed if they do this. Someone like me will be too.
And whereas I understand all of that and I come along with it, I follow your reasoning process.
Yes.
I guess what really matters here is the 109 senators within that room.
Do you know why Burufo stepped down?
Yes.
You know why he stepped down? He wants to get the principal officer that will be zoned to the southwest.
So we're talking about strategy
It's
here.
about horse trading.
Going back,
It's about the horse.
Horse trading.
It's
It's
about
about
horse
trading and
So
strategy.
because there is a context,
I'm
between
just saying
Ondo
that we
State
have
and Lagos State with respect to the principal
I'm
officer.
just saying we have different dictionaries.
But do you know
The
where the
rest of
problem
us-
is?
The rest of us use a certain dictionary when
yes.
we come to define
Okay,
words.
yeah,
But within them there, they have a different
do you know
dictionary.
where the whole problem is? Do you
And
know where
that's
the
why
main
they're
problem
doing-
is, sir?
Sorry, sir. I'll let you continue. But Yakub, apologies for keeping you waiting. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
it is
Good morning.
Good morning,
I'll
sir.
come straight back to you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And then good morning to your guest, Dr.
Good morning.
Yes.
And then Dr. Banwo.
Good morning, sir.
Usually, for the first time, I called to disagree with my friend, F. Dominic. And then I partially disagree with one of your guests as well, even more both of them, concerning Omagege issue. Why? Why? Because, usually, the last Senate, we have a garrison commander as a Senate president, likewise Speaker out of the House of Representatives. Why? Because imagine Ali Ndume was suspended in that house for mere calling the attention of the leadership of House. So a newspaper that comes, newspaper of the day says so thing, and then was suspended from the House. And then the law of the House says that you can never suspend a senator from the House. They don't follow the rule of the law in that House in the last dispensation. That means you, Mr. Yori, if Omagege does not do what he did that time, you could have been a forgotten person by today, because you have no right to suspend me from the House. If you just suspended me, you suspended the people that are representing from my constituency. You know that's quite all right. What Dupri says in the House of Representatives, he said that they padded the budget and then he was suspended for almost a year. Nothing happened. And then somebody now told us now that we cannot do illegality to correct illegality. Omagege is highly responsible for what he did that day, and then I applaud him for that, for this what he does that time. See, Tibiori is a qualified person. Omagege is a lawyer. Is a lawyer. So, Tibiori, I love what the party does for anointing Omagege and Senator Lawan, because we need somebody that is the lawyer to the party, that is going to push on the party's ideology in that house. Why? Because the party campaign all over the country, telling Nigerian citizens, this is what we have to do for you. We have to give you the dividends of democracy, and then bet me on you. For the coming 4 years' time now, the party will be on the campaign again, telling Nigeria you want to do this, and then Nigerian people will ask them, you told us you want to do this, want to do that. You cannot be able to achieve that.
Yeah.
Now we are going to vote for opposition party. In order to avoid that, they push for Lawan, they push for Omagege, and then I believe tomorrow, all of us will watch them live. I believe Omagege and then Senator Lawan is going to become a Senate president. Why Omagege will become the deputy Senate president? I will applaud the party, and then I give them kudos for starting earlier than now. Because I didn't see
although, Yakub, I
Yes.
hear you, Yakub.
Yes.
I hear you. Thank you very much. But I am just guessing that if this whole matter had been that of the opposition, for example, which it is not, I almost imagine you would call in very angry at what is going on. Would I be right in my guess?
That
If it was an opposition matter that handled things like this, I
See.
was guessing that you would call in and say that, look at this, how can they do this, that kind of thing. But here you are saying that you support and endorse.
see, Chief Jori, I supported Omagege. Why? Because let us look at the nitty-gritty of what happened that very particular period.
Okay.
You know that you have no right to suspend me. I still said it earlier. You
Okay.
have no right to
Okay.
suspend me. And yet you did.
Okay.
So I have to survive. I have to look what I can do to be remain in that house.
Oh.
That is what he did. Look, put those for Omagege. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
I
I
think,
interrupted
yes,
you.
I wanted to talk about where the real problem is here, but I'll just make a quick comment on what the gentleman said. The fact that somebody doesn't have a right to do something against you does not mean that you have to resist if the person had the power to do it. They will shoot you in the US. If a policeman wants to arrest you and you have not done anything, they say, hold up your hand and they want to handcuff you and you say, I haven't done anything. You struggle, they shoot your ass. Why do they do that? Why? Because there's rule of law. But that's what I have to say. So the fact that what is happening in the house is wrong does not mean he should jump in there and go cause confusion. But that's an aside. But I think the real issue here...
And I think you made the point that Senator Mwagige is your learned brother.
Yes, which even makes it worse. In the US, they probably will have disbarred him for do what he did. They will have reported him to the Bar Association. And because lawyers don't behave like that, no matter how provoked, you are not supposed to behave like that. Now, having said that, I don't want to be self-righteous. If I was in that Senate, I probably would have done what Omagege did. I'm not going to lie to you guys. If I really feel that strongly.
And that is the point I was making.
And then I will take my punishment. If they are going to now ban me, I will do that. I will take my punishment. But I will not stand by injustice. I'll tell you that.
And it comes back to the point that I've been seeking to make that, the textbooks are one thing. And we all know them. We were in school. Morality, textbooks, political science, and all of that. But in the real university of life,
yes, but
here is a lawyer saying that I am a lawyer myself. I might have done the same.
Yes, but the point I wanted to make is not even that. No, let's put that aside so that I don't forget the main issue. The main issue here is that if there is rancor, if there is fight about who become leader of the house or not, is the failure of the leadership of... I'm going back to Oshiomhole now. They should have settled that, okay, the party leadership, because it is their party. We voted for the party. This doesn't need to be a public drama. They get everybody in the room and they put down the weight of the party right there without the president having to get involved. So if somebody is saying no from there, they suspend him first from the party. So that way there is no drama.
As you are well aware, even as we are speaking now, most of the National Assembly men have made up their mind how they're going to vote. The other ones that have not quite locked it down will be doing so in the hours leading up.
We justify impunity in this country.
Now,
all the things that the progressive...
But let me quickly bring in somebody who's also on the line. I'll come straight back to you, Jide. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
And good morning to the guest. I'm happy to see Dr. Opebanwo after a long time.
Thank you, sir.
But Uncle Yori, permit me to disagree with the statement he made earlier, that the president should not be seen to be involved. I cannot support a president who does hide and seek. I want to see where he stands on any controversial issue or on any issue that borders on governance. It is right for him. Is he not the leader of the party? By way of constitution, the president is the leader of the party. And with what we saw in the last 8 Senate, only a foolish president will stand by and wait for anybody to emerge as the Senate president. The president works with law, and the one who makes the law is the one that actually dictates the pace of governance. So I don't want a president that is elusive in many things. He has to stand out. If he did, he wouldn't have had a rancorous legislative relationship in 4 years. So I do not agree with that assertion.
All right.
Secondly, Uncle Yori, Omagege was the only senator that was able to go against the shenanigans of Saraki in that Senate.
it looked as if there was no APC senator in the Senate anymore. How can anybody tell me that what he did? The Senate was becoming like a motor park garage and otherwise hallowed chamber. I was being ashamed of my country, belonging to a country where a Senate is the way it was going. And somebody came out to say, no, you cannot do this. I cannot stand this. And you are blaming the person? Most people have forgotten what was wrong or what gave rise to what Omagege did. It's not a question of you use likes to ward off likes. When evil attacks you, you cannot use your humility to attack. Evil does not know humility. The way the Senate was going, it was looking as if there is no country. Until Omagege did that thing he did that stemmed Saraki's shenanigans. So I won't stand here and be blaming Omagege. Look, Uncle Yori.
But you know that good people like you, you probably will understand it when people now, when some people accuse you of double speak. Having been vehemently against certain kind of political practices in the past.
Before you condemn an action, you must also examine what led to it. Every action has its own reason. It is the reason behind what you do that counts, not exactly what you did.
Okay. All right.
Uncle Yori, I'm sorry to take your time. Senator Omagege, if you look at his background, if Nigeria had a constitution that allows independent candidacy, that man can win his constituency as an independent candidate. He's a man of integrity. Go to the place he comes from that I'm familiar with. He can beat anybody in that zone.
All right. Then.
So you can't say he doesn't know what he's doing.
Okay.
What he did, we the populace, we appreciated it because he stemmed Saraki to a level. Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. The judiciary doesn't operate the way we are operating now. What I mean by that is that I don't think you're going to be in any court of law where the reason why something happened is going to be taken all that much into consideration.
We justify impunity. Every value that we spoke against when PDP was in power, and I'm seeing people justifying that value. They don't understand that power is transient. And they should not even be deceived that this senator, when they get to Abuja, they don't belong to any party. Have you ever seen any one of them rejected the money they've been collecting in Abuja? None of them is working for any interest of Nigeria. And I've said it. You can do whatever you want to do, malign the 8th Assembly.
But some of them have complained about their remunerations.
When it comes to lawmaking function,
Bruce is an example.
Yeah, when it comes to lawmaking function, you can't fault the 8th National Assembly, which is the primary function that the Constitution gave to it. You can't fault it. And then don't also forget that 2 of the people you are leading, you are projecting as the party, they are majority leader. And majority leader controls the house, controls the floor. I don't understand when people begin to say, justify someone going to, because he's representing the party. So because the policeman arrested me wrongly, I should slap him.
Exactly.
Or I should slap him and then go away and justify that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not a jungle country.
Okay, I got a caller calling in from Agodo. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Yori and Dr. Bawo, my friend. I was with you on Saturday.
How are you? Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning.
Yes. I want to just comment about what the topic of discussing about.
Okay.
I want to tell you that the problem about Nigeria is we are not a patriotic nation.
How is that?
We are in a country where people are dying. There's no food in the IDP camps, and Saraki was there for 4 years. I never see them one day to say, okay, our salary is too big, let's reduce it. I never see them one day to say, all these constituency projects we are inserting, pardon, let's stop it because Nigerians are suffering. I've never seen them one day to say, okay, let's review our salary. People are dying of hunger.
But Saraki has taken his entire emolument, retirement benefits and says, take it and give it.
That's part of what I'm saying. Look at now. In my state, where I'm from, in Imo State, Roger Sokrocha, every time he's always on TV, advertising what is not and what is, spending public money, and nobody can hold them accountable. Everywhere, this thing keep on happening. People are dying of hunger. There's no food and nothing. Just because someone elected you and you become God of yourself. Even the people that elected you cannot even have access to you. It's a shame.
But we're talking about the election of principal officers in the National Assembly tomorrow,
Yes,
and all the horse trading, aka arrangements.
Honorable Wajabi Amila is a friend of mine. I always meet him in Ashura Jesus, and he's a man of principle. I didn't like the part where people came up to blackmail him, because I know once a bright person comes up to become something, we'll look for something to try to,
They don't care about you and I.
And I will always pray for him that I know that tomorrow he will become the Speaker of House of Reps. Dr. Okwebawo, please, I'm so happy seeing you there. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay then, Peter. Thank you very much for calling.
Good to hear from you. There's this recurrent thing that has been going on.
This conversation we're having, I really am learning a lot from you gentlemen, and indeed from people at home. But I'm just looking at it from the perspective of that which we know as ordinary human beings to be patently off color. Yeah, there are circumstances under which people will still say, this is politics. It's not as if this is a church retreat or an Islamic retreat or anything like that. This is bare knuckle politics. That's what I'm learning. You might not agree with it, but it is only 109 senators that are going to be interested, and nobody else can come in. The votes are going to be 108, for any one given person. Not one more. We can talk all we want. But these guys are not, they've accepted all of this. They've, among themselves, I was saying that Borough stepped down, for goodness sake. We're not hearing any of these things, the points that we are raising. We're not hearing it from among themselves there. But there's another caller on the line. Well, Paul is in the UK. Good morning, Paul. Paul?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I just want to mention that Senator Omar Gege, in a civilized society, I would say Omar Gege will have become a celebrity and a hero, even pushed ahead for presidency by extremists because of what he did to the 8th National Assembly. We knew that Saraki got him to sabotage Buhari for his own presidential ambition. And he almost achieved everything. But for people like Omar Gege and Ndume at that time, I think we should always look back at the reasons why things happen rather than forget things so quickly.
Okay.
I think at this juncture, what the president has done is right. The only thing was people like Saraki had started things like, I knew it would come to a point where money will start flying around because PDP is still very desperate. They are desperate to hijack this assembly.
Okay, I'm afraid we've run out of time, Paul, but thank you very much. We did get the gist, the main thrust, and time has run out. In fact, I have only time to thank Dr. Okwebawo and Dr. Jide Johnson as well. Sorry, it's a bit shotgun, sort of. But there you go, Dr. Banwo, public affairs commentator. Welcome back. Been absent from the scene for a while. And Dr. Johnson, as always, thank you for your perspective on
All
matters.
I want to say, they don't care about us.
Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.